Most men think confidence is something you show, but the harder you try to look confident, the less people respect you. Because real confidence doesn't announce itself. It doesn't perform. It doesn't need you to see it. There's a man in the room who isn't trying to prove anything. He's not the loudest, not performing competence, not dropping accomplishments into conversation, but everyone feels his presence. Not because he demands attention, but because he doesn't need it. This is quiet confidence, and most men will never have it because they're too busy pretending to be someone else. You can see it immediately. He doesn't adjust himself based on who's watching. He doesn't scan the room to see if people are impressed. He doesn't change his posture when someone important walks in. He's just there, completely settled in himself, unmoved by the need to be anything other than what he is. And that settledness, that complete lack of performance, that's what creates the presence everyone feels. This channel is for the man who stayed strong when no one noticed, the man who carried responsibility quietly and slowly disappeared. Here, strength is questioned, silence is exposed, and the cost of being the strong one is finally spoken out loud. Let me show you the 5 pillars of quiet confidence, why most men don't have them, and what changes when you finally develop them. Pillar 1. He doesn't prove his value. Most men are constantly broadcasting their worth. They talk about what they've achieved, who they know, what they're building, not out of pride, out of fear. Fear that if they don't tell you they're valuable, you won't see it. But the man with quiet confidence doesn't do this. Not because he has nothing to show, but because he's not interested in convincing you of his worth. His value isn't up for debate. It's not conditional on your recognition. It's something he knows deeply, and your awareness of it is irrelevant. So when someone asks what he does, he answers simply. No embellishment, no positioning, no attempt to impress. Just clear, honest information. And if you're impressed, fine. If you're not, also fine. Your impression doesn't change what he knows about himself. He's also comfortable saying, I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet. I'm still learning about that. No shame, no apology, just honest acknowledgement of his actual state of knowledge. Because confidence isn't pretending you know everything. Confidence is being secure enough to admit you don't. Most men think they need to prove their value constantly. He knows his value exists whether you see it or not. Pillar 2. He doesn't react emotionally. Most men are easy to provoke. Someone challenges them and they get defensive. Someone questions them and they need to justify. Someone insults them and they either fight back or shut down. But he doesn't react. Not because he's suppressing his response, but because his sense of self isn't threatened by your opinion. You can challenge him and he'll consider if you have a point. You can question him and he'll explain if he feels like it. You can insult him and he'll just look at you like you said something irrelevant. Because his worth isn't conditional on your approval, so your disapproval doesn't threaten him. And when you can't be threatened by someone's opinion, you can't be provoked. He's also comfortable with silence. He doesn't need to fill every gap in conversation. He can sit with people without needing to entertain them. He doesn't perform presence through constant talking. And that comfort with silence, that lack of need to constantly prove he's engaged, it makes his words carry more weight. Because when he does speak, people know it's because he has something to say, not because he's uncomfortable with quiet. Most men's confidence is actually just defended insecurity. His confidence is solid enough that nothing external can shake it. Pillar 3. He maintains clear boundaries.
Most men can't say no without justifying it. They need to explain why, prove it's reasonable, make sure you're not upset with them. Because they're afraid that saying no without justification will make them look selfish or unreasonable. But he just says no. Not rudely, just clearly. No, I can't do that. No, that doesn't work for me. No, I'm not interested. And then he stops talking. No justification, no apology, no need to make you comfortable with his boundary. And that ability to hold a boundary without needing to defend it, that's confidence. Because it means you're secure enough in your decision that you don't need external validation that it's the right one. He also admits when he's wrong without it destroying him. I was wrong about that. I misunderstood. I made a mistake. Not with shame, not with excessive apology, just clear acknowledgement. And then he adjusts and moves on. Most men negotiate their boundaries the moment someone pushes back. He doesn't. He set the boundary because it's what he needs, and your preference doesn't change that. Pillar 4. He's consistent across all contexts. Most men change based on context. Different version at work, different version at home, different version with friends. And they think this is social intelligence, but it's not. It's fragmentation born from not knowing who you actually are. But he's consistent. Not rigid, consistent. His values don't shift based on who's watching. His integrity doesn't adjust for convenience. His personality doesn't perform different versions depending on the audience. He's just himself, and that self is stable across contexts. And that consistency creates trust, because people know what they're getting with him. There's no wondering which version is real, no sense that he's performing, no question about his authenticity. He's just reliably himself. Most men are whoever the room needs them to be. He's just who he is, regardless of what the room wants.
And that groundedness, that refusal to shapeshift for approval, that's quiet confidence. Pillar 5. He doesn't compare himself to others. Most men are constantly measuring themselves. Am I ahead, behind, winning, losing, better, worse? And that comparison is exhausting, because there's always someone ahead and someone behind. You're never satisfied. But he's not playing that game. He's not measuring himself against other men. He's on his own path, focused on his own growth, measuring himself against his own standards. Other men's success doesn't threaten him because he's not competing with them. He's also selective about what he engages with. If it doesn't concern him, he doesn't have an opinion. If he can't change it, he doesn't waste energy on it. If it's not his business, he stays out of it. And that freedom from comparison, that ability to just be on his own path without needing to measure himself against others, that's confidence. Because he's secure enough in his own journey that he doesn't need external metrics to know if he's doing well. Most men need to be better than someone to feel good about themselves. He just needs to be better than he was yesterday. So what creates quiet confidence? It's not one thing. It's the result of knowing yourself so deeply that you stop needing external validation. It's what happens when you stop performing who you think you should be and start being who you actually are. And that knowing, that deep self-knowledge, it doesn't come from achievement or success or recognition. It comes from sitting with yourself honestly, from facing what you've been avoiding, from accepting what you've been denying. Most men don't have quiet confidence because they don't actually know themselves. They know the version they perform, the image they project, the role they play, but they don't know the person underneath all that. And you can't have confidence in something you don't know. The man with quiet confidence spent time alone with himself. He stopped running from his thoughts. He stopped medicating discomfort. He stopped performing and just sat with who he actually is. And in that sitting, in that willingness to be with himself completely, he found something most men never find: himself. And once you know yourself, really know yourself, external opinions lose their power. You don't need validation because you're not uncertain. You don't need approval because you're not questioning your worth. You don't need to prove anything because you're not trying to convince yourself of your value. You just are. And that being, that complete settledness in who you are, that's quiet confidence. The hero's journey isn't about becoming someone impressive. It's about becoming someone certain. Certain of who you are, certain of your worth, certain of your path. And that certainty doesn't need to announce itself. It just is. Most men are performing confidence while terrified someone will see through it. He's not performing anything. He's just quietly certain. And that certainty, that deep knowing, that's what everyone feels when